All right. What I want to talk about today is a word I learned recently. It's called COVID kilos or COVID basically. Okay, so this is essentially the phenomena of having gained weight during the lockdown. So during 2020, the first part of the lockdowns or second part of the lockdowns or even 2021. So all the weight gain that's happened thanks to COVID, thanks to the lockdowns, is now being called as COVID kilos or COVID basically. There's a research paper on that also. I wanted to address why that happened, right? Like a lot of people would think that it's just a phenomena that's as unknown and as mysterious as a virus that's apparently um, killing humanity. What really happened with a lot of people is when the initial lockdowns were announced, there was increased food shopping. I remember seeing people, like even when I would go to grocery stores, I remember seeing people buy so many convenience processed foods because they were easier to store, they had a longer shelf life. You could buy in bulk and then you could feed the entire family and stuff. So a lot of people ended up indulging in a lot of processed convenience food because for most people they thought that the lockdown was only for 2 weeks, right? So that's what happened. So there was a lot of food shopping, a lot of extra food shopping, a lot of hoarding happened, and then because that hoarding happened, there was a compulsion to finish off that kind of food also. Secondly, food takeaways and ordering food from outside, like ordering in Swiggy, Zomato had a field day with the lockdowns. But a lot of people, because of the lack of time to cook, because of the inability to maybe plan their meals, or not having the knowledge of how to really eat healthy, also like work from home and all of that, so that contributed to a lot of people ordering in. So there was that kind of food coming in, and I talk of how these foods actually contributed to those extra kgs as well. So there was a lot of ordering in happening, and surprisingly, when everything was shut down, alcohol shops were open. Right? I don't know if you guys remember this, but like after the initial 2 week lockdown, alcohol shops were open, so there was increased alcohol consumption because people were at home, bored, no place to go in the evening, no socialization, just seeing the same faces again and again. Um, so alcohol consumption increased. So what these three things did is all your convenience foods, all your processed foods, like your instant noodles and your biscuits, all of them have so many things that are going to trigger inflammation. For example, there's sugar, there's gluten, there is like processed. It's just bad. There are food additives, preservatives. Very rarely are the ingredients good quality. So all of those ingredients from those processed foods just went on and made it harder for your body to actually be able to use food as information for health. What your body had to do is use that food, see the information that was coming in, and that information was crap, junk information because it was coming from junk food, and that just created that excess weight kind of a disease in the body. Um, Outside food, like even if you're ordering maybe a biryani or dal chawal, most often outside food is cooked in vegetable oils or seed oils. And vegetable oils, seed oils, we've spoken about this quite a few times, even when I've gone live with Johan. We post about this on our iThrive channel as well. These oils are something that really trigger inflammation, that cause insulin resistance, and will directly contribute to weight gain. There are no two ways about this, right? Seed oils are bad for humans. Biochemically, we were not supposed to process that high levels of omega 6s. Seed oils ruin our health. And if you look at restaurant food, it's usually cooked in seed oils only. Very rarely would you find a restaurant cooking in ghee or coconut oil. And the third is the alcohol, right? So alcohol is known to impact the liver. Alcohol is known to deplete your body of vitamin B. So a lot of consumption of alcohol during the lockdowns impacted people's livers, and then because the liver was now inflamed and people were seeing fatty liver and all of that, the body's ability to kind of be in good metabolic health, to detox and all of that got impacted, right? So these three things, besides which the working from home, which means most people were sitting all the time, even kids were like just doing online education. Everyone was on their laptops and screens and their phones all the time, not moving enough, not going outdoors, not getting sunlight exposure. People's sleep cycles got messed, and all of these factors, right? The food, the lifestyle, the lack of movement kind of contributed to what is now known as COVID kilos. I still find that term very funny. But that's what happened to a lot of people. Also, for people who actually got COVID and who had to recover from it, these people also are experiencing a kind of trajectory towards weight gain, and like the body is just not able to put off weight, right? So what most people are doing as a strategy now, they're doing like extreme diets like keto, or they're doing very hacky things like, you know, just not eating and like trying to eliminate the amount of food. I'm all for fasting. Fasting is great, but fasting done with the right reason and for the right purpose works really well, right? If people just use fasting, or let me lose weight and not eat any food, they are going to end up with cravings, they're going to be hungry, and then they're going to eat stuff that's just easily available without having planned their food. So people are doing that, it's not working. A lot of people are attempting to over exercise and exercise their way out of this excess weight. It might work for a short period, but over the long term, it's not going to work, because what has changed inside the body is basically the metabolism itself is broken with all the food and everything that was eaten during COVID, right? So if someone wants to lose those COVID kilos, if someone really wants to kind of get rid of obesity, I hope I'm saying that right. How can you even come up with words like this? I literally thought I'd heard all the words that were possible with COVID, but I heard obesity today. So if you want to get rid of that excess weight, the best way to honestly do it is get your blood work done, see what has happened inside, and then work on each of those root causes, and you'll really lose weight very easily without having to stress out about it, right? So those COVID kilos will melt away and become COVID non-kilos. I don't know. COVID killers. I don't know, whatever. Like you could figure out a different name for it, but you could very easily lose that 2020, 2021 weight without having to do hacky stuff. All right. So that's what I wanted to quickly talk about today. I also am thinking of doing group coaching, because it turns out I really, really enjoy group coaching. I've been doing the manifestation meditation group for like the last 3, 4 cycles, and I really like the energy of a group when it comes to healing. Of course, the I Thrive in 3 flagship program will always be there. That's one on one. That's for people who really need deep coaching, deep healing, when they have conditions that are like, you know, not just about weight loss, or not just, just wanting to improve health generally. So that program will always be there. I'm always part of that. But I really thought of doing something for people as groups. Maybe the pricing will be a little lesser. We all hang out together. We do weekly calls. I'm building a framework around it. And would you guys watching this be interested in something like that? That's what I wanted to know. Would you be open to a group coaching program led by me, a 12-week thing, a cohort? We become buddies in the group and we do challenges together. We just have fun together, all the while working on our health. So let me know if you guys are interested in that. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is a discovery I made this morning about what I call as the um, like, for the lack of any other word, right? I'm calling it my personal vibrational scale. Now, those of you who have been reading about energy and vibrations, there was this book called Power versus Force. And in that book, the author had kind of put down a vibrational scale which spoke of okay, let me just switch my internet connection on the I think it's fine, it's streaming well. Yeah, anyway, so there was a scale, the Hawkins scale, that's the name. There was a scale called the Hawkins scale, which spoke of where consciousness inside a human being could reside. And at the lowest, like, there were points given to different kind of emotions. So at the lowest there was shame and guilt and apathy, and at the highest was joy and peace and enlightenment. And you could be anywhere in this scale, right? So I knew about this concept, and then this morning when I was meditating, I realized, like, I personally have my own vibrational scale based on what I've experienced through life. So I'm at my highest vibration. I'm like really vibing at a different place altogether when I'm channeling source or the divine mother or the mother goddess or spirit or whatever you name you want to call it. when I'm channeling that, when I'm writing poetry, when I'm thinking of the team, when I'm thinking of what we can do for the team, how the culture can become more and more beautiful than what it already is, when I'm thinking of I Thrive and her growth, when I'm thinking of the people who have signed up with us for healing, when I'm thinking of the academy students, my vibration is like at a very, very high level. There's peace, there's joy, there's contentment. When I so my lowest vibrational scale right now, this is my I really discovered this morning right now is that episode of trauma that I experienced 2 weeks ago on the 30th of October. So that event has become my lowest, and the emotions attached with that event are there's grief, there is an emotion of betrayal, um, there's an emotion of anger, a little bit of sadness. So all of those emotions are stuck around that event. And I've noticed that through the day, I am, so this is my high and this is my low. And then I'm shifting between these, right? So I realized that given the events of my life and the experiences of my life, I now can identify my own personal vibrational scale. And now my only job is to spend lesser time at the lower scale and see how I could vibrate more and more at the higher scale, right? So, um, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have. I'm not saying that the scale. I mean that switching vibrations. It's going to happen. Energy is always in motion. Energy is never stagnant, static at one place only. Energy that creates goes through ebbs and flows, right? So knowing what are your pros and what are your peaks is really something that becomes very useful as you navigate your day-to-day life. So even if I go into the throw, then I now know what is it that's going to bring me back to the peak, right? So it's something that's like really helped me as a tool. I don't know if I'm making sense to a lot of people, but I wanted to share it. And I think if each one of us just looked at our thoughts through the day, right? Like maybe you sit for a quiet meditation and you see all the thoughts that come and you see how particular thoughts, what kind of emotions they generate, and just start mapping these and say, oh, this particular trauma, this particular moment of grief is creating these kind of emotions, and I'm like I feel low versus this act that I'm going to do, this thing that I'm going to do today generates this kind of emotions. I think you'll start developing your own personal vibrational scale, and then you can move, right? You can move upwards if you choose to. You can move downwards also if you choose to. I just find that being in the lower spirals feels like very heavy, dense energy, and I don't enjoy that too much because there's no fun there. And I love fun and I love celebrating. So I just discovered this. I thought of sharing it. But for those who came in here to kind of listen to the COVID kilos and the COVID basically talk part, if you're struggling with this, get your blood work done. We'll find out what's happening. Is it insulin resistance? Are there deficiencies? Is there a toxin overload now? Or are there pathogens that are creating basic inflammation in your body? And we look at that, we'll figure out what's going on, and we'll reverse that, man. It's no, it's like it's easy. Weight loss is one of the easiest things to accomplish, because it's got like very objective ways of evaluating what's really going on. Also, this evening at 5:15, Suyash from the team and I are going live on iThrive's channel. We're going to talk of iThrive Essentials, which is our supplement line that we're launching. So please join in there, and I will see you guys tomorrow again. Bye bye.